Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to discuss about Java arrays and collection. So arrays are mostly present in all the languages. Collection is particularly for Java. So what is collection? Collection has array list, sets, map. Again, these are all data structures which are present in all the different languages. But the thing is that the name with which it is being called in Java and C++ are different. So first we'll understand what's an array, and then we'll have a brief overview about collection framework in Java. So array is a simple group of elements. Rather, I could say an array is a simple group of same elements, right? So let's see this. So if you see, this is ball, 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 and these are all similar, right? So this is an array. How do we represent an array? We represent an array using square bracket. Okay. So we talked about integer, right? Int data type. So if we need to make an array, what we write? We write something like this. Int a, this is equal to new int, and let's say 10. Now why did we write 10, 20, 30, or whatever? And why is array important? Why do we need to study it? So you see, let's suppose you have been said to make 100 variables. So what you'll do, you'll say something like int a, then b, c, then a, bb, cc, whatever. What is the naming convention you are following for the variable, you will follow that out, right? But this is very tedious. Let's say you have 1000, you want to make 1000 variables. You can't write 1000 statements like that, right? So array comes in handy here. So array has same type of elements, but you can specify the number of elements you want to make. Let's say I want to make a integer array of size 100 or size 1000. So what I'll write? Int a is equal to new int, and let's say 1000. Means that we are going to make an array whose length is 1000 and it's going to contain all integer elements. Understood? One more thing. How are we going to access all the elements of an array? So we use something called as indexing. So indexing means the position. So in array, the position starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2, this is third. Almost in all, even if you go on with array list, when we go ahead discussing about collection, everywhere you'll see that in computer science we usually follow the zero indexing, right? Very rarely, rare programming languages are there where they use one indexing, but C++, Java, Python, everywhere we use zero based indexing. Okay, so let's say we are having 1000 elements. So what will be the index number line? It will be from 0 to 99 and 9, right? Also, one more thing which is there in arrays, it can only have same type of element. So it won't be like, let's say this is of int, this is of double. Okay, this is not possible. Either all the elements would be of int, either all the elements would be of double. Now, one more thing that we see about this array is that the memory, when see int has some size, right? It occupies some byte memory, right? So int actually occupies 4 byte of memory. So 1000 element will occupy 4000 byte. And let's say the memory location from which this array is getting stored is, let's say, 1000. So the last position would be 5000, because the size of the array is how many bytes? 4000 byte, right? So this will be occupied by the array A. Understood? Now we understand why we have discussed this concept. So if we talk about the collection API, so collection API provides more flexible capabilities for managing group of elements. So for collection APIs, we can directly add, update, remove, search, and rearrange. This array, if we really talk about just array, we have to manually do things. But when we have collection APIs, we can directly add, update, and do a lot of different operations. And if you talk about collection API, it has array list, linked list, set, stack, queues. Other than this, also there are a lot of things. Priority queues are there, hash set are there, hash map are there. So there are a lot many things which is there in the collection API. Our major concern will just give a brief introduction about all these. So array list is same like an array, but difference here is that array list is dynamic in nature. What do you mean by dynamic in nature? You see this array size is fixed, but array list size is not fixed. It starts increasing after a certain limit. So how it is useful? Let's say you have an enterprise or a website, and first you made 100 customer website, but now your customer are increasing for the website, right? You need to store more data, more logging data for the customers. So you want to have a flexible data structure. Every time you can't go to the code, make changes, and again modify a lot of statements. Rather, you can use an array list. This is just a brief example which I am talking about. So you can take an array list, and from that array list, what you can do is you can start adding the elements. Because it's dynamic in nature, the size of the array list can be easily altered. Okay, then what is linked list? Linked list, you can see that in array, like just I'm giving again an overview. It's not exactly the detailed way of explaining linked list. In array, we talked about it will be storing in the continuous memory location. In linked list, you can say all the nodes, we call nodes here. So all the nodes will be stored randomly based on the availability of space. Set, the same thing as we have discussed in mathematics. This is represented using these curly braces. All the elements which will be present in the set would be of, like, would be unique, would be distinct. We cannot have repeated element. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, and 3. This is not possible. Array can have multiple. That's completely fine, right? You can have 1, 1, 1, 1 stored here. But in set, we can have only unique elements. Okay. Next is stack and queue. So these two are really something which works on, stack works on the principle known as LIFO, and queue works on the principle which is called as FIFO. Now what is LIFO and what is FIFO? So LIFO means last in first out, and FIFO means first in last first out. So let's say you have stack of plates, right? You have seen plates. So this is a table, right? And on the table we have plates kept. You can just keep it like this, something. Yeah. So if you keep the last plate on the top, which is the plate which is going to be taken out first? It will be the last plate only, right? Therefore, it is last in. The plate which has been kept at last is the first plate to get out from that stack. But let's say there's a movie hall and people are there in a queue. Okay. So if this person arrives at the ticket counter, the first place, who will be the first one to get the ticket? This first person, right? Therefore, first in, first out. Are you getting it? If we are having certain requirements such that we have to take out the last input element, we'll use stack. If we have a requirement to take out the first input element, we'll use queue. Again, use of these data structures will depend upon the problem statement. For now, we are just having an overview. What is a stack? What is a queue? We'll at least have around 3-4 lectures based on all these one by one, how to implement that, right? What are the things that we can do using these structures, and we will be solving around 20 questions based on each of these topics, problems based on each of these topics. So you can understand we have to study this in detail, but now for simplicity, we can understand that stack uses LIFO and queue uses FIFO operation. And stack, the best example is the stack of plates, and queue, the best example is the queue of a ticket counter. So the first person getting in the queue will be the first person who will be getting the ticket. So these are the APIs, and or you can, these are really the data structures that people say and speak of, but these are actually the APIs. So how are they helping? So actually all these operations, add, update, remove, that can be easily done. We don't need to write the code for them. It's already written by Java programmers. We have to just use these data structures in our programs. Also, array list is same as vectors in C++. So almost all the programming language somewhat have same data structures. Just the name of those will be different. When you go to Python, it will be something else. C++, it will be something else. Java, it's something else. Also, sometimes the amount of time which the operation takes depends upon the programming language. But the core concept of all these data structures remain constant throughout the programming language. Yeah, I'm not talking about C because C is not an object-oriented programming language. In C, if you need to use set, you need to write everything and then use, right? But in Java, in C++, you can directly use the set as there. So, but yeah, the terminology for set will be different for C++. For Java, it's different. Let's say you have to use array list for Java. The same thing we can use vectors in C++. So this is how the terminologies differ from one programming language to other, but the core concept remain the same. Along with it, we will be even understanding the implementation. We'll be coding the how can we implement array list on our own. Let's say we don't have these APIs. Can't we write the code? We will be able to write the code. And that is what a programmer does. So basic should be clear. We'll focus on that even. And then we'll also try to use what has been written by the programmer to write our code easily. If you talk about interviews and coding competitions, you can directly use these array list, linked list, which has been present and written by the Java programmers in your code. That's always allowed. But yeah, we need to understand the basic of it so that any other problems which comes to us, we will be able to develop that type of data structure. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is very informative video and you will be able now to feel about what is data structures, how we write code, what is stack, what is queues and so on. So I hope you enjoyed understanding all these concepts. If you have any doubts, you can mention that down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.